Think you're gonna get on or what?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get on.
We hope.
I mean, we got here at, I don't know, 3.
It's sad or sick. I don't know which one.
Bobby Jones once said, if you've played less than 10 rounds at the old course and you claim to like it, you're a liar. Or something along those lines. I can't find the actual quote, and I'm not positive he actually said it, but we're going to assume that he did, and today we're going to try to figure out what that means. St. Andrews is synonymous with golf, and I don't just mean the old course. I mean the whole town of St. Andrews. It's called the home of golf for a reason, and it's because this place has been golf-obsessed since the 15th century. The people of St. Andrews liked the game so much that King James II banned the sport in 1457 because he felt young men were playing too much golf and not practicing their archery. It remained taboo until King James IV became a golfer himself and lifted the ban. In 1754, the Society of St. Andrews Golfers was formed, which eventually became the Royal and Ancient Club. The R&A clubhouse still sits directly behind the first tee, and despite the stuffy stereotypes that come with the R&A, the golf mecca that it stands beside remains as one of golf's most open and most played courses. Getting a tee time here is difficult, but anyone can do it, and in this episode, we're going to explain how. St. Andrews just feels like a golf town. The game seems to find its way into every conversation, every pub, and even every cab ride.
I guess it's the home of golf because it's got the earliest documented evidence of golf actually being played as a sport in Scotland, and then what it's grown to become over the years, 29 Open Championships, all the great players that have come and played on the old course, and the fact that the property has grown into 7 courses. I mean, it's just eats, sleeps, breathes golf, and I think that's why St. Andrews is the home of golf.
Golf is even in the cemeteries where you'll find the grave of old Tom Morris. Part of this golf obsession is because the game is incredibly affordable for the locals. Like most places in Scotland, St. Andrews charges high prices to the droves of tourists that flock there each year. This subsidizes rounds for the locals and students and keeps prices low. The class system that seems to hold back the sport in the States seems to not exist on this side of the pond, at least not nearly to the same extent. St. Andrews' most famous attraction, the Old Course, is jammed right in the middle of town, surrounded by the village's most iconic buildings. The course springs up out of nowhere when you see it for the first time. The thing that hits you immediately is the accessibility. You can park right next to the 18th green. And on Sundays, the course is closed and turns into a public park where you can walk your dog, play catch, or do pretty much whatever the hell you want.
Just got out of the Dundee again. I think we're gonna go walk across the Swilcan Bridge.
Randy, what do you think of the golf course so far?
I don't know. I can't see it for real. I just love playing amongst buildings. That's the best.
So you're saying you like infrastructure?
Yeah.
Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna reserve judgment. I know a lot's been written and talked about this place.
What'd you think of the Swilcan Bridge?
I thought the Swilcan Bridge is a fucking disgrace.
Period, point blank.
That's a bold take.
And of course, St. Andrews is not just the Old Course. There's 7 courses in total, and 6 of them sit on the same stretch of land. The Old Course might be the greatest golf course in the world, which is why it's the only one we're going to focus on here. But the other courses are such an added bonus. If you're struggling to get on the Old Course, your options are plentiful and incredibly fun to play. With a bit of history and geography out of the way, it's time for the question that every Scottish golf trip asks at some point. How do you actually get on the Old Course? There are 3 ways. Option 1 is to simply book a tee time, and this is tougher than it sounds. These tee times must be booked way in advance, and you can only do it during a small window from late August to early September. This allows paying customers the chance to book tee times for the following year. This works great if you know your travel dates well in advance, but if not, there are other options here as well. Many golf travel companies hold tee times at the Old Course and can offer up pre-arranged times if you're unable to book during this window. Option 2 is what is called the ballot, and people swear by this system, but personally I'm 0 for 4 trying it. Nearly half the tee times each year are given out through this lottery system. It's pretty simple. 2 days prior to the day you'd like to play, you enter your name, handicap, and home club in the online lottery and hope to be selected for a tee time. And option 3 is your fail-safe, the singles queue. What makes this place so damn cool is that despite the massive demand to play here, you can line up at the ass crack of dawn and beg for a tee time at the door. And at 6 a.m., they open the doors to anyone lined up outside, and they fill in any holes in the day's tee sheet with willing singles. Personally, I've done this 3 times, and I'm 3 for 3 and getting a tee time at the old course, but you got to work for it.
The earliest one I've ever heard was an Australian guy who came about 18 months ago, and he queued up at 7:30 the night before. And the people in the office were kind of saying, you don't need to be here yet. But he was adamant he wanted to be first in line that morning. So he, sleeping bag, he was out there and nobody was budging.
What time did you guys get here?
1:30 for me.
1:30?
Yes. 12:30.
12:30? How you holding up?
Tired. I'm an old man. I'm tired. Need a nap.
But we had a goal to be there by 3 a.m. And since that was still hours from now, we had plenty of time to hit the second most famous golf spot in St. Andrews.
Famous Dunvegan Hotel and Inn. Going in here for just a bite of dinner. Maybe have a pint or two.
Hey, man, boys.
Does that sound like something you might be interested in?
I thought that was Panther Mike behind the bar when I was.
Shout out.
Welcome to the famous Dunvegan pub.
Hey, guys. I get it now.
Any golfer that has ever come through St. Andrews has been to the Dunvegan, and if you're a famous one, you're memorialized on the wall. It's golf's ultimate 19th hole, and it sits within shouting distance of the 18th green.
It's a review of the Dunvegan.
It's like, I think it might be like the capital.
You've been here.
No, but
Oh, yes.
Buck Club. It's a Buck Club.
Disgrace.
The most popular fictitious club in America.
Randy, where are we?
We are, what's the road called?
Golf place.
We are literally like in a place of golf.
We're out scouting number 1. We got in the shadow of the RNA.
So, just trying to get a feel for things here. Little outbound's right, I think could be in play for me. So I'm looking to just blow it all the way left. Hopefully it's got a little cut on it.
All right, there you have it. We'll see you in a couple hours.
We got to bed just before 1 a.m., which meant we had about 90 minutes of sleeping time before we had to get up for the singles queue. By coincidence, we happened to be in St. Andrews at the same time as our buddy Poosh Daddy, whose real name is allegedly Micah. You may remember him from our pairing together in the Kia Classic Pro-Am in March. Poosh is the lead singer of Iration, a reggae band that is way more popular than I realized when we first met him. We even got to see them play in St. Augustine, and if you can't tell, we're kind of fans. As luck would have it, we even planned to line up for the old course on the same day.
2:45 meeting time. It's 2:46. I'm all alone. We have 1. We got 2. Get some good Z's?
yeah, like 2. Let's do this.
Where's a large Randall?
Big Crandall.
Randy! Is this for real? Maybe he really did die of sickle cell.
Well, shake your ass, man. Let's go.
Meet you there?
Yeah.
How long you need?
Like 5 minutes.
Get together. Let's go.
Disgrace.
I didn't set an alarm. I did the timer. So it was
Oh.
like 2 hours.
Not good.
And so I obviously hit snooze, and then with the timer, it actually just turned off. It didn't have a...
All right, well, Poosh said there's already 6 people there besides him, so we got to get it move on.
F***ing sick.
Please turn left in 200 yards onto Double Ducks Road.
Yeah, the double dikes.
Morning. How you feeling?
Like a dream, baby. Trying to immediately asleep. So we're gonna get a little bump from Neil. Need a hit. The gang,
What's up?
Gang's all here.
What's up?
Got Mr. Poosh, Tron,
How we feeling?
Big Randall.
Hey, Neilers.
Hey, Randy.
How are you, bud?
Good, bud. You guys look like the sun's coming up.
Starting to
It's
peek its head
It's
out.
starting to buck its head a little bit.
We early wake up call. 2:40 wake up call this morning.
3 o'clock for Randy.
Have a few pints in the pub last night.
We lifted a couple pints.
The wait is long and cold, but it turns into this kind of beautiful scene. As the sun's coming up, you're meeting golf fans just as crazy as you are from all over the world.
First draft pick here. What's the strategy on when to go today?
I think I'm going to go early, just as long as I have enough time to get some food and some coffee, maybe an energy drink or two, some Red Bull.
You guys getting excited?
Yes, getting there. One of the officials, Scott here.
I feel like we're starting to see our lines. We got a bit of a game plan going.
All right, here's the line at 5:45. About to open. 7 people in front of us, 7 behind us.
And eventually the doors open and the wait is over.
They opened up a minute early for us.
Morning.
What do we see?
I'm just hearing rumors right now. Not sure what's fully available. I don't know if there's anything available in the morning. Scared, terrified. We just want to play.
So it'll be single, and 2. Okay. I need to see handicaps.
First, anything about it?
We made it.
Worth it?
It was worth it. It was a little bit scary for a bit. I'm a little bit thirsty, a little bit hungry. But it's a battle of attrition out there, and we won. So
get some sleep.
Is that
Hey, dudes. Playing the old course today.
I guess we're gonna get on. And we get some sleep.
We live the dream.
It's kind of cool.
When you line up, you have no idea what tee time you're going to get. You could be off at 7 a.m., you could be off at 5 p.m., but luckily for us, we were teeing off just shortly after noon, so we all went back to bed.
Do we actually have to play golf?
I think we do, unfortunately. Yeah.
If you've watched the other episodes in this season, it's clear that we caught Scotland in the best conditions possible. Crazy firm turf, balls rolling out for eternity with dust flying out of the ground on the pure strikes. That continued at the old course, and it made it even more fun and strategic. The old course is not long by modern standards, and with the lack of governance on modern technology, it's actually a bit sad to see where they have to fit some of the championship tee boxes. Several tees are over on the new course, and the 17th tee, one of the most iconic holes in golf, has a tee box that's out of bounds.
We slept about, 3 hours?
Thereabouts.
How do you feel?
Maybe a tad longer, with the exception of that fire alarm test. I feel terrible. I mean,
Thanks for asking.
I think I felt better before we went to sleep.
I could have played on 2 hours of sleep. Now I feel worse after going back to sleep.
Yeah, I feel it's terrible. I think my body feels a little better, maybe, but just mentally, I'm gone. I was on the edge. Now I've lost it. It's gone. The first tee shot, completely benign, but very nerve-wracking.
That's why we have the sex with. I think that's.
So that's why I don't want to try to put an iron on the ball. I want to put a bigger head on the ball. I think your caddy will let you know what you're doing on one. He's gonna look you in the eyes and you say, "Listen,
Let me hop on, bro. Let me.
this is my show."
Gonna be battling some nerves?
Actually, I don't get first tee jitters. I get when I get nervous, I fan open the putter blade, but I don't really ever get first tee jitters.
Famous last words.
How do you feel about your game this morning?
Ugh, it's gonna be awful.
Team USA.
I liked it. Towards the burn on the right, should be short. It is. He's in play, folks. John, good luck. Crack on.
One of the cool parts about being in the singles queue is that you end up getting paired with people from all over the world. Tron played with this kid in the Gucci sweatpants, and DJ ended up with a group of Australians who were in the midst of a 6-week trip.
This would be the no laying up team.
That's it.
That's us. Yeah.
That is. Off his face. He's so excited.
Just had a venti Starbucks.
Unfair advantage. He can see over the burn up there. My heart's racing for him. It's a low stinger. That'll play. 18 of those, huh?
Maybe the best miss. Yeah. Wind cheaters.
That's
all day.
flighted. That was intentional.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all day.
Actually, playing the old course can be absolute chaos. Only 4 greens stand alone and the remaining 14 holes are played to 7 double greens. A fun fact is that the sum of the shared greens always equals 18, as the 2nd and the 16th holes share a green, 3rd and 15th, and so on. On almost every hole, there might be 16 people standing on a single green as one foursome and their caddies are going out, another foursome and their caddies are heading in. At the furthest point, the 7th and 11th holes actually crisscross, and there might be 30 people on this point of the property. It's the ultimate glorious madness.
5 people up on the green. That group of 5 is leaving. We got us 6. The great crossover.
I'll admit it, the first 2 times I played the old course, I didn't get it. It was still incredible to tee off on that first hole with my heart pumping, to pick out a line over the Old Course Hotel on the 17th and check the boxes that every golfer should experience in their lifetime. But it didn't fully resonate with me, which is a common reaction for first-timers.
I guess I see why people wouldn't like it the first time. Actually, no, I don't. They're idiots if you don't like it the first time. It's the best. It's so weird and fun, and I don't know. I don't know how you could have more fun playing golf than that.
That's cool, man. Thanks, Deej.
Bloody St Andrews, and we're better in East Lothian. That's a bit of local rivalry. St Andrews is what, it's the heartbeat of golf tourism in Scotland. It's a misunderstood course.
I really didn't know what to think or what to expect. I knew it was going to be kind of mind-blowing. I knew a lot about the routing, but until you see it in person, it doesn't really click.
I think it's a lot like Augusta in that you've seen it and you feel like you know it, but when you actually go for the first time and see it in person, you just get I don't know, it's a validation and maybe a new appreciation.
But I think it's once you get into it and you sort of get a flavor and a feel for, well, this has been here for hundreds of years. Bits of it don't make sense, but that's the brilliant bit about it. And I think even to those people, they can be a little bit underwhelmed. The same thing, once you get onto that back 9 and you're coming down 12, 13, you're going past Hell Bunker, you just get caught up in the moment. And then when you reach that 17th tee and you're looking at a railway shed, you just go, no other golf course in the world that is built today would put a railway shed 140 yards away from the tee that you're supposed to hit a ball over. I mean, it's brilliant. It's fantastic.
This place gives you a buzz, and it does. You're standing on the first tee at the old course. Is it a good hole? It's a field with a river across it, protecting a flary flat green. But I think when you play the old course the first time, you may be underwhelmed, but really taken by the history. But once you get to play it, and you play it a few times, you begin to understand it. It's a great golf course. Staying left doesn't save you. I remember the St Andrews Club up there, my first medal, I was 2 under par at the turn, and she just gently said, well done, young man, and then she whipped me all the way back. I think I finished 12 over, thanks to 2 bunkers. That's the old course. Scottish golf, don't get over yourself.
It took a special caddy for it to all really click. Last summer, I played one of the rounds of my life at the old course with my man Brett Murray on the bag. He was plotting me around the historic links like a Sherpa, and I just followed him blindly. I knew that on this return visit, I had to have him back on the bag.
This is my man right here. Didn't even have to say anything. Takes it straight to the back tees. What are we hitting off one this year?
We're either going to hit 5 or 6 iron, I think.
Okay.
With Brett's help, the light bulb really went off for me in terms of strategy and golf as a whole. And this is where I started to understand Bobby Jones's quote. The old course is on a very flat piece of land, but it's not flat at all. And these contours dictate your entire strategy. Your first time through, you can stand up on the second tee and think, holy shit, this is a double wide fairway. I can hit it anywhere. But after you take the safe play up the left, you now realize you have no route to the hole as there's an enormous mound between you and the flag. Oh, and also it's rock hard out here, so you need to play a run-up shot that's only really possible to control from the right side. To illustrate this, let's take a look at the third hole. Playing into the 16th fairway again looks very appealing from the tee, but as you see here, the route to the flag is completely cut off by this massive bunker. Alternatively, the more risky route sets you up in a scoring position if you pull off the tee shot. Every single hole at the old course puts you through this kind of exercise, and the wind changes every hole every day. You need to think about runouts, carries, playing up alternate fairways, all of it just to try to gain an edge. And that's where the genius of the old course lies. A 15 handicap will love the fact that you can land a 747 in these fairways, and a lower handicap player is in for the chess match of his or her life, trying to figure out the best angles to come in from.
All right, not a very good start for me.
Strike there, Randy.
There's the kid for eagle at 5.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo the Schwaldo. Crack on.
Sick.
Bang. Birdie on the Eden.
The golf course truly is different every single day, which is why it can never really fully be figured out. In 1995, as an amateur, Tiger Woods played his first round there and remarked, "What are these bunkers for? They're not even close to being in play." The wind switches and, oh my god, they are in play. That's the genius of this place. After 11, you make your turn inward and the remaining 7 holes are played back towards the town. The landmarks keep getting bigger, and I can't describe how cool it is to hear your caddy pick out church towers in the distance for your line. In the right wind, the 12th can be driven. The 13th again provides a myriad of options. The 14th is the only par 5 on the back and features Hell Bunker.
I thought Hell was sleeping on a beanbag chair in a tour van, but it's actually right here.
The 15th is another stout par 4. And the 16th features the Principal's Nose bunkers and an awesome green to tee transition to the highlight of the day. Number 17, the road hole, is one of the most famous holes in golf, and while its essence is one of the most copied templates in the game, if someone built this hole today, it would likely be the last golf course they ever built. With the help of your caddy, you pick out a line over this wall and you swing away.
17 it's the best golf hole in the world. And it's not even up for debate. It is unequivocally the best golf hole in the entire world.
Consistent with the rest of the course, there's bailout room to the left, but you have tall grass and a bad angle waiting for you there. To get the best angle, you have to be willing to take on the OB on the right and risk the lives of those having a beer at the Jigger Inn. On this approach, you're better off playing in front and left of the green rather than risking ending up on the road. But of course, you also have to avoid the road hole bunker. It may look small, but everything feeds down into it.
Such class there, mate.
It's hard to emphasize how close that road cuts into the green and how tiny the landing area is. Big Randy didn't really take that into account.
What was that you just said?
Well, I pumped my second OB. It hit the big road here and hopped the fence. There it is right there. I bet it's a...
Callaway 3?
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, sacrifice to the gods, huh?
Yeah. Made a hell of a 6 though after that.
You know what comes next, but rather than our boring bridge photos, can we just please take a minute and look at the audacity of this guy to cut in front of DJ's group and ask them to borrow a club for a photo?
Great putt, Deej. Backtracking to the 17th fairway, a beer or 6 is a requirement at the aforementioned Jigger Inn.
Guys, did you know you could get Guinness extra cold? Yeah.
I
heard that too.
Was literally what it meant. Yeah, that's why I was like, what does that mean? They were like, it's just 4 degrees Celsius colder.
While the itinerary for this trip was all world, the Old Course is simply in a class of its own. And there's a reason why we say that the Old Course is essential for any first-timer visiting Scotland.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like describing the Old Course, literally, it's like I just don't have a good enough vocabulary, or I haven't thought of a good enough analogy for how it fits.
I just don't think there's proper words to describe some elements of it too. It's just, you just got to see it and you just got to go experience it.
Yeah, it's more of a feeling.
We're gonna go have a little quick knock around.
I'm big on like seeing campuses. This is a proper quad.